What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about Faraday Future. As promised, I said I was going to be doing a video essentially on the whole bridge between China and the States. Faraday's focused a lot on it, and rightfully so, because it is a very big deal for Faraday. And then over and above that, I also want to talk on who it could potentially be. So I'm going to go over everything that you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, Faraday has focused on the whole bridge strategy quite a lot. So they've done a full dedicated PR that was on May the 29th, all about that and why it's a big deal. They've brought it up even on the whole kind of just their plans to regain compliance. So clearly it's a very, very big part of their business strategy. And plus, on a side note, many of the videos that did come out, they do reference the whole bridge strategy. So in case you do not know, Faraday's intention is primarily to sell to the States. But because of Biden increasing the tariffs to roughly 100%, that is making it very, very difficult for any Chinese automaker to import vehicles, because who the hell would buy them, right? And even beside the point, because of Faraday's price point, that also kind of does make it hard as well, but still not here to talk about that aspect. But when it comes down to the tariffs, one way to kind of go around this as a loophole is to have a bridge strategy. So you kind of have a counterpart in the States, and usually that does and would be kind of done by either like a actual true merger, partnership, something along those lines. So a lot of people think that it's going to be a lot of the big OEMs such as Ford, GM, Stellantis, a lot of the US-based automakers, which in my opinion, I don't think that's the case. Those companies got as big as they did for a reason. They are heartless, they are ruthless, and they will do everything possible to get the most bang for your buck. So in my opinion, they would rather see Faraday go belly up and then buy them for 10 cents on the dollar, and then that way they can just use any kind of benefits from their technology and their vehicles as they see fit. So that's how a big OEM would really see Faraday. So they wouldn't really be willing to do some partnership. And even if they do, let's say Ford just says, okay, Faraday, let's do some partnership. Ford is going to take probably 90% of all the potential profits from that, killing Faraday. This is one of the negativities of working with a larger company. And on a side note, this is why Apple has really struggled with a lot of kind of partnerships, right? Because the whole Titan project, they initially did approach Hyundai and also Kia, but they said no because Apple just demanded too much. And based on my knowledge I do have, Apple did approach Lucid Motors as well. Just Apple wanted too much money. So that's kind of the negative side of having or being the big dog. You can pretty much bully people around. And that would happen to Faraday. So in my opinion, I think it's fair to assume that Ford, GM, Stellantis, a lot of the big US-based automakers are out. You kind of have to, not to sound bad, but you have to choose the low-hanging fruit, because keep in mind, Faraday is not partnering with these companies because of their performance. They just are partnering because of them being a US-based company. Because in theory, that whole bridge isn't to sustain Faraday's finances, rather it's to kind of avoid the tariffs. Because ideally, I think this is where Faraday possibly might get their funding from the UAE, which hasn't been announced, but that's, in my opinion, where Faraday might get the funding from. So they just need a kind of a shell company, as bad as that sounds. So there's two candidates I do feel that are really suffering financially, but with a partnership, it kind of would help Faraday as well as this company. So I do have two candidates. And plus, also on a side note, both of them are EV automakers, and they don't actually have any products that overlap with Faraday's. So that's kind of a even stronger plus. But first one, Workhorse. I'm sure some of you may or may not have heard of them. Ticker is WKHS. Over the last 1 year, down 90.24%, and in 2024, down 78.19%. I'll go over their financials, but like I said, I feel like it's not going to be that relevant. Rather, it's just going to be because that they are a US based company. So starting off looking at their financials. So they have about, from their last earnings quarterly, 6.7 million in cash and cash equivalents. And then looking right here, they're burning through roughly 18 million every single quarter from their operations. So they are kind of a losing business, if that makes sense. 29.46 million is the market cap, so fairly low. And just to put it in perspective, right now, based on Faraday, where it's at, they are 223.68. So Faraday is a little bit higher than Workhorse. So in essence, I feel like this could be one of those good bridge strategies, and hopefully Faraday has actually reached out to one of these two companies because they are ideal, right? It would help keep that company afloat, at the same time allow Faraday to import a lot of their vehicles. And even better yet, if Faraday does pivot their business model and kind of starts with lower price vehicles, I think that'd be even more ideal. But obviously that's not in this video right now. Moving on, second stock is going to be Canoo, ticker is GoEV. Over the last 1 year, down 78.68%, and in 2024, down 63.99%. And looking at their financials, so they have about 3.7 million in cash and cash equivalents, 5.9 million in short term, so a total of 9.6, and they are burning through, based on their operations, 47.5. And just to give you a quick overview, their market cap is 151.03 million. So both of these companies, such as Canoo and Workhorse, I do feel could be very good candidates, could also really benefit on their end as well with a kind of a bridge strategy with Faraday. So yeah, all in all, this is why the whole bridge strategy is a big deal for Faraday, because like I said, if they don't kind of have this deal done, you can pretty much write off importing any vehicle to the States, as bad as that sounds. And the whole competition in China, like, it's ruthless. Even NIO did kind of announce, based on their last earnings, like they are burning through so much money because there's so much competition in China. I feel like Faraday wouldn't stand one chance. And they could potentially, through a partnership with the UAE, kind of import vehicles that way. But they would have to move their manufacturing most likely, because that's why any Middle East company does partner with other companies to kind of bring business to the Middle East, similar to what happened with Lucid. And now it's happening with Tesla, Hyundai as well. There's also Seer. Many EVs are kind of moving to the Middle East. And so potentially that might happen with Faraday, or at least a facility out there. But still, let me know your thoughts on these two candidates. Is there any other companies, US-based companies, that you feel that Faraday could partner with? And if so, why? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And make sure you guys definitely take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. Take advantage of this. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.